Well, Mark, they asked your boy today. Old Belichick said, "Hit the road, Jack," or "Hit the road."
Don't come back no more, no more.
Or hey, head on down to Tampa Bay, where your boys are, and win another championship.
Well, to me it looks different, but he looks like he's really packing it in at 40.
Well, until the old Tommy gets on the horn and says, "Hey, bro, want to win another bowl?
Just one more.
One more. One
Just
ring.
one more.
Me and Gronky here, Gronk playing the ball. We have an extra ring, and we'd love for you to have another one."
Yeah, you'll only have to play about 6 downs a season, but that's it. That's it.
Oh boy. Well, he got cut today.
What's that?
He got cut today. What do you do?
Well, he also retired. Beautiful little tribute, little retirement.
Actually, he failed his physical.
Ooh. I don't know what to say about that, but that's terrible. That's terrible.
He had a good career, though.
Don't forget, we're gonna have a contest on our pages coming up here with the jersey in the back. Jersey in the back.
Is that what
right
that
here.
jersey's there?
That's a Mahomes jersey. Mahone.
I'm not sure who that is.
Yeah, me neither.
Is that the person that lost the Super Bowl to Tom Brady?
Yes, that is. But this is Boston Pizza putting it on. Boston Pier Windermere and Marketplace with the Mahomes jersey. And don't forget, we have the 2 $50 gift certificates. And they'll be $50. Nice. Yes, from
and
Terry.
You can use those at Hampton Market and Windermere locations.
Yes, we have the contest. The contest will be going up.
Go there.
And get a Progi pizza.
You know, you got to spend more than $50 unless you're a chump. You're going to spend more than $50 there.
Yeah,
but you know, take part of the bill off.
That's right, 50 off.
50 off. There you go. Get an extra pitcher of beer. Or 2.
Yeah, or 3. Yeah, 3.
Make sure you have someone drive you home. Uber's all over Edmonton, though. You have no excuse anymore.
Everywhere. Mm-hmm.
We're in one of those moods today. We have a very interesting guest today. He's only a couple months younger than myself.
Yes.
Yet he still throws knuckles in the UFC for a career.
Yeah. It's crazy. This is going to be a crazy show.
The John Wayne himself of the UFC.
The John Wayne of the UFC. And I'm telling you, when this is all said and done, he needs to be inducted in the Hall of Fame of the UFC.
He will be, though.
Well, I don't know how they run shit over there, but what I'm telling you right now, there's no question he should be in the UFC. There's no question.
No, absolutely.
The Hall of Fame.
And we'll get into that obviously when he joins us in a couple of moments here. But you know, also, Edmonton Oilers got lit up pretty severely by the Flames, and Connor McDavid's closing arguments of why they lost so badly, it amounted to the score that they scored, which was 0. To me, he blamed it on someone that passed away. And sadly, as sad as it was, you blame it on someone that passed away a couple years ago. To me, that should motivate you to try.
You're correct.
You had 17 shots in the game, and you blamed it on that.
Yeah, it was awful. And this guy's Mr. Politically Correct, and all of a sudden decides to break his silence after all these years to start using that as an excuse. It's despicable.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
I get it that he doesn't know how to hold a press conference. That's
what
I get. I get that too. He doesn't know how to talk to the media. I get that he's not a real leader.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, you'll see. I don't know what the Oilers did today with the trade deadline, but they did 0 again. So they must think that
the only time they've done amazing on the trade deadline is when they acquired Pronger to take them on a cup run once, which was amazing at the time. Obviously, it came back and haunted them, but they notoriously missed the ball. They wanted Taylor Hall, and they lost him to Boston. Whether or not you like Taylor Hall, it doesn't really matter. He would have actually helped that team have 2 solid lines again, because I tell you what, when you learn to shut down Connor and Draisaitl,
people know how to do it now.
They know how to do it, and again, when you run into a hot goalie. Like they're going to have to play probably the Habs, maybe the Jets. Both goalies can be very hot.
And with the listen, I'm going to say it on the show today, and I'm sure our former guest Caroline Shved would be happy that I'm going to say this, but the Leafs killed it today. And I hate to say it, but they did.
They back, joined by Ed Herman on the Me and Jesse podcast.
Get ready. It's time for the Me and Jesse podcast with Mark Pavelich and Jesse Martineau.
Welcome back to the Me and Jesse podcast, everybody, and our special guest today. And listen to me, do I sound excited?
Yes.
Because let me tell you something. We got the John Wayne of the UFC, okay? 40 years old and still kicking everybody's ass. The one and only Ed Herman on the show today. Yes.
What's up, guys? Thanks for having me. Hell yeah.
Welcome to the show, Ed. You're only a couple months younger than me. How do you still do it at 40 years old? I go and play pickleball for 2 hours and I have to sit on the couch for the rest of the night.
Oh, man. A lot.
His internet's catching up there. It'll catch up in a
goes
second.
into it, my friend.
Well, he froze.
Awkward silence. Awkward.
He froze up there. We'll get Ed back in a second.
Awkward silence.
It'll catch up. Mark, how do you know Ed?
Well, I know Ed because I met Ed.
My connection's not that good.
Okay.
There it is. There it is. No problem.
You're back.
You guys hear me?
Yep, we got you.
We got you. Maybe put some tinfoil on your finger. Hold it up.
Yep.
Oh no.
If you have to turn your camera off and just have the mic, your audio rolling, we'll do that too. That's fine. We can roll audio. But Mark, how did you meet Ed?
I met Ed because I used to train Jason McDonald, and when I first trained Jason McDonald, his very first fight in the UFC was against Ed Herman, and not the fight we were looking for his first fight in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? Because Ed was just coming off the Ultimate Fighter 3 show and did very well. I mean, he was the runner-up, to that show. So,
right. Well, we'll get Ed back in a second. He's obviously had some technical difficulties, which is bound to happen when you're having internet.
And hey, you know what? We got to think of it this way too. For our show, it's never happened before. It was bound to happen.
There he is. No problem. No problem.
Hey, so I'm on my phone. I'm going to be outside, so I get a better internet connection.
No, that's fantastic.
All right, cool.
So how do you
so I'm back, man.
How do you stay in shape at 40?
There's a lot of things that go into it. Taking care of myself, taking care of my body, massage therapy, chiropractic, just all that stuff,
Is there anything unorthodox that you do that maybe some of the other guys don't, or focus on a certain area that you have to because that other guys don't have to?
Rest. Yeah.
Some of the younger guys don't need to rest as much, maybe.
Making sure I just get that proper healthy, getting in great shape, getting enough rest in, and all that stuff.
How long are you going to do this for, Ed? How long are you going to go for? Like you've won your last 3 fights, convincingly. So what do you figure?
Yeah, as long as I can stay healthy, I'm going to keep rocking.
You want to be the longest in history?
Why not?
Yeah, I agree. You can be.
I think the only other guy who's been under contract longer than me right now is Diego Sanchez.
Yep.
Yeah. That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'd like to get to 30 fights at the UFC. That'd be cool. But really, I'm just trying to stay healthy and make as much money as I can before I hang them up.
Yeah, definitely. And your next fight is in June, right? June 12th?
June 26th or something like that. Yeah, June 26th.
Yeah, June 26th. Yeah, UFC Apex. Yeah. And the opponent's not the end of the world opponent. This is someone you can beat.
Yeah, it's a great matchup for me.
Yeah, I looked at the tape. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm kind of cutting out here. It's a good matchup for me. He's a tough guy, but I'm better than him everywhere.
Yeah, you are.
My finish is going to really come into play. So I'm excited for the matchup. I think it's a great matchup for me.
Do you see yourself when you retire that you're going to be that father? Because I know you have twins, right? And you have a daughter. Do you see yourself being that father after, like at the wedding, at the wedding, and that kid kind of be's a little mouthy, and you kind of Ed, I just picture you doing this, and you step over to the young buck, and you give him an out. You say, okay, kid, listen, but he doesn't know who you are, right? Because time's traveled. And then you get there and you say, listen, and then you put the slap on him at like 65, 66 years old. Do you see yourself doing that?
Absolutely. So I'm going to pursue, coaching full time when I'm fighting. So I'm going to be in the game. I'm going to be that guy with the cane on the mat and the old beard.
Yeah. Like you'll be the reincarnation of Gene LaBelle, right? Like Gene LaBelle, when he passes away, Ed Herman will take over. I've always thought of you that way. I've always thought of you as you're the guy's guy. You're the teammate. You're the guy that'll corner a guy. You've been to Edmonton with Pat Healy. You've been to bare knuckle fights with Chris Lieben, and then you're training too, and you're still in the UFC. Like, who does that, Ed? Nobody.
I don't know. I got a couple of young guys at the gym I'm helping coach, and I'm going to be traveling with them and cornering them over the next few weeks too. So
that's awesome.
I love it, man. I love being a part of it. These young guys, they keep me going. All these young animals I train with, as well as my wife and family and all my coaching staff. Of course, we got a lot of young, talented guys who kind of keep me motivated. So it's fun to go and corner them and be a part of their success as well.
What is it that excites you about this sport? Because, there's some guys that might just do it, but you love this. And so what is it about it that you love? Surely it isn't getting hit, but what is it that does it for you?
I think just, part of the competition, in me, the competitor in me, and then as a coach, I love to coach and be a part of these guys' success coming up. I feel like I have a lot to give back. I laid the ground road. I fought for $100 and shit. These guys are all making money now, so it's cool to be, a part of all these young guys' career coming up, and I just love it, man. But honestly, I still fight for the money. That's no lie.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna say, bro?
Yeah. No, that absolutely is a good answer too, because that's part of the deal there. No worries about your phone there. If you need to turn off the video part and just talk audio, we can do that too.
Whatever works now.
Go ahead, Mark.
Stay close to Jimmy.
They don't have good internet down there in Oregon.
Sorry about that.
It was bound to happen. It was bound to happen.
Go ahead, Mark. What do you want to ask?
I'm going to sit right next to the fruit.
Yeah. Okay. Go. You got a good spot there?
Yeah, I'm right next to the router, so it should be.
Hey, do you get tired of it? Like, cause I knew Robert Follis very well. Okay, because when you first fought Jason McDonald, I was training Jason McDonald at that time, and Robert Follis was training you. And Robert Follis passed away in 2017, and like, I know people ask you about it all the time, Ed, but I knew Robert well, and the crazy part was I knew him in a way like, I was a martial art geek that could fight, and he was a martial art geek that could fight and teach. You know what I mean? And it was funny because when he died in 2017, I thought about you right away. I thought about Chris Lieben right away. I thought about Randy Couture right away. I thought about you guys right. I mean, Robert he was just great to me. You know what I mean? Like he was nothing but when we won fights, he would always come over and talk to me. That the day we won the fight, when I trained Jason McDonald to fight you, he came over to me after and was talking to me. Most guys would never do that, right? He did that. Like, he welcomed me to the UFC while everybody else was shitting on me. He was the one that said, hey, you belong here, Mark, you and Jason, and, don't ever think you don't. And it was weird because the rest of the MMA community wasn't like that, but he was.
Yeah, Robert was very outgoing and not afraid to reach out and new friend or just give people respect. And Yeah, man, we all miss him a lot. But I feel like I carry a lot of what he taught me in that same aspect. Like after the fights, you know, it's all hugs and handshakes for me, man, because especially for these young guys, because this is their growth, you know, where they're really coming up and it's exciting part of their career on both sides. You know, like I cornered one of our guys, Luis, in Legacy a couple weeks ago, and you know, it was cool to see a lot of guys out there. But Dustin Jacoby's in the corner across from me. He's in my weight class in the UFC, you know, and we're like super cordial, like handshakes and hugs, you know, like what's up, buddy? Let's grab a beer after the fight, you know. So that's the way this game is. You know, there's some jerks out there, but in general, everybody's pretty damn cool, man. And we're a big family, and you know, you catch up with each other. Sometimes you're on a different side of the cage. Sometimes you're on the same side, you know. Trained with a lot of these guys over the years. Doing it this long, I've trained with a lot of teams, a lot of people over the years. So.
Yeah, definitely.
And tell us the story, the backstory of how you got into this. Were you a kid that just liked martial arts, or were you a tough kid that got into fights, or what was it that kind of got you going down this road?
So I started out wrestling as a youth, you know, and but yeah, I was always getting in fights too. I was kind of a troubled kid. My family life was messed up, so I was getting in trouble at school for fighting, you know, a lot, you know. I was a skinny little redheaded kid with freckle face too, though, so people picked on me all the time. So I was always scrapping, you know. And then so it kind of came natural. I started doing jiu-jitsu about 18 or 19, and just to keep me out of trouble, out of the bars or whatever. And then kind of fell in love with it. Met Randy and Robert Follis, and you know, they took me into their wing. And before you know it, I was training with Randy every day, like after a couple months. You know what I mean?
How old were you then?
22.
Wow. How, you know, what was that like, meeting someone that, like, obviously is an icon in the sport, like, and then all of a sudden takes you under his wing?
Yeah, it was crazy, man. A friend of mine went out and joined Team Quest and told me, yeah, I just signed up at Team Quest today. I met Randy, Robert. I'm like, yeah, right.
Yeah, whatever.
You can't just meet them like that, yeah.
You know, because we were watching him and Matt Lindman fight in the UFC already at that point. So I went down the next day and met Robert Follis. Yeah, and I signed up and was part of the team. And basically, you know, they would beat the shit out of me and Chris and be like, you guys are tough enough. You guys can be on the team now. We're like, sweet. So we showed up every day, get our asses kicked by Randy, Matt, Evan Tanner. He would kick me so hard it would bring tears to my eyes. You know what I mean? Wow. But we kept coming back. We kept coming back, and you know.
But that was that. I don't think it's like that no more, Ed. Like the way you did it. Like I don't think people do it like that, because I knew Evan Tanner as well. And I know how Randy is, and I know what you're talking about, and I know that you went through all that stuff to get to where you wanted to get to. And I think maybe that's why you're not a trash talker. You're not a, you know, it's not about that with you when you're like fighting someone. It's like, yeah, you want to kick the shit out of them, right? You want to knuckle up and kick the shit out of them, but you're not going to like do the routine. Like that's just not what you're going to do, because you really did come up in the martial arts era, you know, like it's called mixed martial arts, you know, it's not mixed martial arts entertainment. It was mixed martial arts. And yeah, I want to kick the shit out of somebody, but it was never like it is. I think now is kind of different. Like, you know, everybody's like trying to front on everybody when you see them at press conferences, and you never see you do that. Never. Like you're always like, yeah, I want to fight. Yeah. You look like you want to kick someone's ass. And yeah, you don't want to be their buddy, but you've always been respectful. You've always been respectful.
Yeah. I'm about respect. I expect to get respect, and I'm going to give it back to people. I'm ready. I'm here to take care of business when I go fight. I wish I was better at running my mouth and talking shit. Maybe I'd make a little bit more money. Maybe maybe I'd be on one of the damn UFC video games. Maybe I'd be in the top 10. You know, who knows, right? You know, but all that, everybody's trying the Conor McGregor stuff. I give him credit, you know.
But that's not you. That's not you.
Not me, you know. No. I tried a little bit when I was young on The Ultimate Fighter, tried to get mouthy and talk a little shit, but it wasn't really me, you know. It's kind of stepping outside of the box. You know, I had a big chip on my shoulder, and I kind of expressed that, you know, when I was young, but I'm a pretty chill dude now, man. So thank you though for the respect there.
But you listen, you won 3 in a row now, right? At 205. Right. And I'm like, and now I'm getting excited, okay? And I don't even get excited anymore, really, you know? And I'm getting excited about you doing that, and I'm thinking to myself, what a story this would be. 40 years old, Ed Herman, Ultimate Fighter 3, okay? 3. People are like, all these new MMA people are like, what? There was an Ultimate Fighter 3? And they're all looking back in their book trying to find it. But I've been in this game longer than anybody, okay? So I remember you doing all this. I remember you going through the whole gamut. I can almost name off every fight you've had and how it went down. But you know what's funny? Very rarely you get your ass kicked. Very rarely. You know what I mean? You might get caught with a shot and get whacked, or that Russian dude whacked you in the head. Okay, big deal. But I'm saying very rarely in all the years you've been fighting, someone kicks your ass.
Yeah, nobody kicks my ass. Like I said, I've been stopped twice.
Yeah, twice.
Like a big head kick where I went down. And then, I've been submitted a couple of times too, but I've never just had my ass kicked like someone and bludgeoned me for 3 rounds. It's not going to happen. When that does happen, that's maybe when I'll hang it up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Until I just get manhandled, and I even went up to 205. I'm not a big light heavyweight, and these guys still aren't manhandling me. I'm ready to make a run here, you know. So, but I appreciate you saying that because I feel the same way. Nobody's kicking my ass. Maybe I get caught, or a really skilled guy like Jacare or Damian Maia or Jason McDonald, who are the only 3 guys to submit me in the UFC, and they're 3 of the best guys ever. So,
and all of them are black belts. You know what I mean? Like they're all, and you're a black belt now, right? Quiet on the set over there, okay?
We're at the gym right now, and I got.
That's okay. That's okay. Hey, listen. That's what you get for live. When you go live, this is what you get, and we're okay with it. We're okay with it.
Oh yeah.
You're a black belt now.
Yeah, I've been a black belt for about a year now. I could have got it sooner if I'd have spent more time in the gi, but pursuing MMA, I feel like it slowed me down a little bit there. But it's exciting to get, and getting my black belt under my longtime jiu-jitsu coach Fabiano Scherner, meant a lot.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal,
man.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's a big deal.
When I'm done fighting, I'll spend more time in a gi and get back to jiu-jitsu and maybe even do some professional jiu-jitsu competition. But for right now, I gotta continue to focus on MMA. I'm in a gi, once a week or so, but I'd like to get back in the gi more,
What is it that you like better in the gi than versus? Because some guys you hear now the opposite almost from them, that they prefer no gi versus gi.
Well, I mean, for MMA training, I prefer no gi, but as I'm getting older, I like the gi because I can slow these young studs down, man. They're freaking all over. Grab a hold of that gi, like, slow down, sucker.
That is true, actually. When you
you can protect yourself.
Yeah, you get controlled very well if the guy knows what he's doing.
But too, I feel like gi training is really good for your defense. For MMA guys who don't like to train in the gi, I think you need to train in a gi because it really helps your defense. Because you're not just pulling out of an armbar. You're not gonna just blast out of something. Everything's tighter. You got to be more technical. You got to think about it more. So. Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. You're not yanking out a sweaty arm. You have to work to get that thing out of there.
Yeah.
Did you get the wrestling bug from your father?
Yeah, so my dad wrestled for University of Iowa under Dan Gable.
He did? Wow.
One or 2 years at Iowa. Again, Gable was an assistant there at the time, and then he was an All-American at Northern Iowa before that. He grew up in Iowa around wrestling, so yeah, I kind of got the wrestling bug from him for sure. And
that's something that like is your dad still with us? Like he's still alive?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
so
he's my biggest fan, man, for sure.
Biggest fan, because I remember him from back in the day, right? But when I say back in the day, I'm like, oh shit, that's a long time ago. so because I remember, but people say that all the time. They're like, well, I'm 53 now. You know what I mean? So that's like what. When we started all this, I was young. No, come on, but it's a lot of lights, white teeth, you get all that shit done. So, but what I'm saying is that I just like, I think there's a story here. You don't want to shit talk people, you don't want to talk trash, but at 40 years old, the career you've had with 3 wins in a row. Listen, I'm telling you, when this is over, I'm going to blow up Dana White 24/7 that you don't go directly into the Hall of Fame. Because I know your career, because people don't understand your career. You know what I mean? Like your type of career. Because you didn't trash talk, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, but you're going to end up with 30 fights in the UFC, right? And you've done all these things, and you were an Ultimate Fighter, and you do this, and longevity-wise. And I said to Jesse before the show, I said, he's got to go in the UFC Hall of Fame for sure. For sure.
I hope so, but I don't really get no love sometimes. Maybe when my career's over, it'll come to tuition or whatever. But you know, I just feel like you said, I don't talk shit. You know, I'm not.
You don't turn down fights. You don't turn down fights.
You can take short notice ones.
I fought the toughest of the toughest guys. You know, I got a win over Glover Teixeira. He's the number one contender. So
yeah.
Glover go snag that belt up. Maybe I get a couple more wins, and they'll give me a shot, get an old dog a shot at the title, maybe. But that's a little far. That's a little ways out there. But I'm just gonna take it one fight at a time right now.
Yeah.
Keep doing what I'm doing. You know, but you know, I feel disrespected with the UFC. You know, I'm not in any of the video games. Like, give me a little legacy. Let my son play me in the video game. Damn it.
Yeah.
You know?
No, please, Ed. Please go ahead. Today's the day, man. Today's the day. Today's the day.
Because you know, Mark mentioned UFC and MMA entertainment, and it has become that. We've and you know, Connor, you know, bless him for finding a niche that actually worked and got people to buy. However, it has become an entertainment in terms of you almost need to be able to talk now. Yeah. How do you, other than having someone, maybe that's the thing, maybe you get someone to talk for you, I don't know, but how do you start to overcome that more? Who can you, as a fighter in the UFC, petition to get more shots?
Right. Well, you know, you can get online and call people out. I can ask for fights through, you know, Mick Maynard and Dana White and stuff like that. So, I mean, that's the way to do it. You know, me and Mick have a good relationship, and I feel like if there's a fight that I want, he's going to try and help me get it. So, not necessarily like, oh, I want a title shot. Yeah, he's not going to help me get that. I got to earn that shit, obviously. Yep. But, you know, he's been pretty good. I like work. I don't have a manager. I'm self-managed, so it's nice to work directly.
Oh, wow.
Which sometimes can hurt me, but sometimes it's really nice too. You know what I mean? But I'm just, like I said, taking it one fight at a time. I'm gonna get the fights that are the best for me to get in there and do what I do, so I can go and get my paycheck, support my family, and just keep going with my legacy here. Try to get some more W's.
Yeah. I remember like yesterday, Ed, when we were training for you for the UFC, and they said the first fight for Jason McDonald was going to be Ed Herman. I said, I don't know how we're going to get ready for this, because I said, I'm training Jason McDonald. I'm like, we're going to get our ass whooped, right? And so because Jason didn't have any high level wrestling at that time, right? So I was like, oh my God, this guy's just going to murder us against the fence. So I kept telling Jason McDonald during training camp, right? I walked out on him 3 times during training camp. I walked out, like, this was all staged. Like, he doesn't know. I think he knows it now, though, right? But I would walk out like, you're not good enough. This guy's using you for a stepping stone. He's gonna bounce off your forehead, and we're gonna be like, oh, here comes those Canadian guys. So I was yelling this to him. Forget about teaching him arm bars. Forget about teaching him wrestling. Forget all that shit. None of that stuff was relevant. That's why people came to train with me. They didn't come to train with me because I could teach them how to armbar somebody better. I said, hey, listen, if I had your talent and Jason McDonald's talent, I would have used Anderson Silva as a dish rag. You know what I mean? Like, I would have murdered the guy because my mentality was always so much better than everybody else's. But the crazy part was, I kept telling that to Jason McDonald because I was like, I was so worried about you. You know what I mean? And so when the interview came and he won the fight, the first thing he said was, no one's using me for a stepping stone, man. Nobody. And I started laughing. I'm like, that's the only training I did with the guy was I yelled that in his ear the whole time. I said, Ed Herman's only using you for a stepping stone. You're just a pebble. He's going to step over. And I kept telling him that the whole time. And then Dana White said, when I walked out, Dana White said, oh yeah, you think you're funny, eh? And I go, yeah, I'm funny. The next fight they give us is Chris Lieben. And I said, oh shit. Like I said, so the whole camp, all we worked on was wrestling. That was the first time ever Jason McDonald knew what wrestling was. We worked on wrestling. After the first round, Lieben's lighting him up, eh? And I said, so he comes back to the corner. I slap him in the face. I go, what the fuck are you doing? Like, have you lost your mind? You're standing up with Chris Lieben. And Dana White looks at me and he starts laughing. And I said, take him down and choke him out. Let's get out of here. Okay. And that's what he ended up doing that. And I was like, you couldn't have started out any better in the UFC, but against two guys, even to this day, that I have the utmost respect for, yourself and same with Chris, right? I mean, there's another guy that I know people look at him antically, the way he does certain things, but the truth of the matter is he's another one that is iconic in the sport of MMA.
Yeah, I agree, man. you know, and that mental side is so huge. You know, you doing that to Jason is maybe what pushed him over the edge to come in and get the W over me. You know, that was a tough fight for me because I was supposed to fight this guy who was like 5'8" and like 40-year-old kickboxer, and I was like, I'm gonna murder this guy, and then replace him with Jason McDonald. And I'm like, fuck. I knew who Jason was because he beat Matt Horowitz when we came up to Edmonton.
That's right. That's right.
I knew who Jason was, and nobody else did. They're like, you're going to kill
nobody.
This guy.
Nobody knew him. Yeah, nobody knew him.
I knew him. I was nervous for that fight, you know, and I made some mistakes, and he capitalized on them really well. So that one still gets me, you know, losing to Jason. But he, you know, he's a talented dude. So, yeah, you guys got me. Thanks. Thanks for helping out.
Listen, don't listen. It's all love. But you know what the crazy part is? I just watched for the first time ever the other day bare knuckle boxing, and who do I see in the corner? Ed Shortfuse Herman in the corner of Chris Lieben. And I said,
"Oh, it was me. I had a fucking."
I know, but I was doing this with my eyes like, am I watching this right now? Chris Lieben bare knuckle boxing, and Ed Herman in the corner, and I said, These guys are like, if that doesn't attract you, okay, that mentality about how you guys are without saying one word, how you guys aren't bigger than you should be. Because when I see what you've done, I remember you coming to Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, cornering while you were in the UFC, cornering Pat Healy against Ryan Ford, and the crowd was packed. All for Ryan Ford.
Oh, that was scary, dude. I thought we were going to get mobbed getting out.
Oh, it was as violent as it gets. Pat Healy wins, and you're raising him up in the air, and I was so happy. I don't care, because I never cared who won, so I don't care if it was Ford or you guys, but you guys won. I was so happy for you guys, but you looked over at me, and the whole place is going like booing, and then you look over at me. I remember like yesterday, and you go like this, like, you were winking at me like I said, "Oh my God!" I said, "Oh my God."
Pat's got that heart too. That
does he ever?
Yeah. Shit we all have down here. You can't teach, man.
You can't teach that. You can't teach that.
We all have it. Some of us do.
Yeah, but look at all the guys that you can say, like from Randy to yourself to Evan Tanner to Lieben to you know, like, it's just, the list is like even Shale, right? He's part of that too, right? So there's like a gamut of guys, just one after another, and it's like you couldn't complain. It sounds like that those camps, you couldn't open your mouth to complain, or you'd just be turfed out of there.
Oh my gosh, you should see, dude, these fighters these days, some of them are the biggest whiniest bitches I've ever seen, dude. That's freaking crazy, man.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Cutting weight and stuff. I mean, I used to be a little of a baby making 85, but man, some of these guys.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, it's different now. It is.
This is why I'm stuck on the whole entertainment part of it, because this, what you're talking about right now, Ed, and how you're talking, there needs to be more of a platform for people like you to actually speak, because what you're saying now is, hey, I've been around this thing. I know what's going on here. I'm not a baby. I am one of the elders of the show here.
Yes,
you gotta listen. And it's unfortunate that people. No, I will say that's probably pure MMA fans probably do listen, but the new show, the new style, the new stuff isn't as much in it, and it is actually quite frustrating now. I'm thinking about it more. I can't get off this topic. We need to find a way to actually get you and the guys like you to be elevated, have a platform again.
Yeah, you know, there's ways of doing it, you know, having a podcast and doing different things like that. And I never did a podcast, but I tried to do the social media. I tried to talk more, but I ain't got time for that. I got time to train. I got time to work on my recovery and help my kids and my family, and, you know, go ride the quads and work on my truck, or just regular dude stuff. You know, it's more important to me than all these assholes on the internet.
And what about that time I saw on the internet that you were teaching guys at sword fight takedowns, and I saw I couldn't believe that. I was like, what the hell are you doing over there? These are guys that are wearing night outfits, swords, and you're teaching them takedowns. Oh, Jesse, you got to see this. I'll get you the video.
It's called Boo Hurt. It's called Boo Hurt. And these
Boo Hurt.
They travel around the world and they beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah.
It's like, it's pretty cool. So they brought me in to show them like some Greco throws and some takedowns. It was a good time, man. It was fun. These guys are crazy, man. They beat the hell out of each other with like they're dull swords, but like I mean, it's crazy, man.
It's still metal swords. You're getting smashed in the head with it, right? And they're wearing the whole knight outfit like the movies, and they're fighting. They're fighting like where horses run, and they're fighting in there. And Ed's teaching them takedowns and clinch work with knives and sticks, and it's nuts. You got to see it. I'm gonna post it on our Facebook page on the Me and Jesse podcast. So people
suit up. They got me to suit up in a full armor suit and do kind of like a. It was hard, man. I was hurting afterwards. Guys, man, it was rough. I'm not doing it anymore. A friend of mine blew his ACL out doing it, so I'm.
Oh yeah. You can't be doing. You can't be doing that. Can't be doing that.
Boo hurt though. It's pretty badass, dude.
Yeah, it's called boo hurt.
It's not like LARPing. It's like guys play with like soft swords. These guys are like trying to fuck each other up, man. It's mean.
Well, I think there's major respect for you, Ed, for what you said. You have a family. You have other priorities than really focusing on putting social media posts together, and that's respectful. It's unfortunate that in our society and our culture that we don't respect it as much as we really should, because to me, being a parent is probably the most the biggest job there is out there. It should be anyway, and it's not getting the love in the sports that we all love and devote our time to. And it really is time that we start showcasing these role models like yourself in that regard too, because to me, like, and I think that's where UFC.
Well, look at the popular people. Look at this kid Sean with the fucking rainbow hair. It's like two fights in the UFC. Yeah. Like that's what the UFC wants to focus on, and these fucking goons. You know what I mean? So like, it is what it is. I mean, it's like ridiculous. Like, So go ahead and focus on that crap.
Yeah. Let's focus on that index finger. How you really lost the tip of your index finger. I want to know the story, Ed. Like your index finger. Yeah. What happened? The true story. Tell the Me and Jesse podcast. Did we get cut off at that point? No.
Doesn't want to sell it.
I was changing out my well pump. Yeah. You guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. And it came off.
So I was changing out my well pump. Yeah. Man, why does it keep kicking off? So a well pump goes way down in the ground. There's like, 2-inch pipe that goes way down in the ground, like hundreds of feet. And we're pulling it out with the crane, and the crane failed. And it started to drop the piping and the pump back in there. For some reason, my instincts, I reached for the housing and I grabbed a hold of it, and it sucked my hand down into the well housing. Or I grabbed the electrical cord, that's what it was, and it sucked my hand down into the well housing. And I pulled it out or let go just in time, and it smashed the tip of my finger off. I almost lost all 4 fingers. Like I was within a half a second of losing all 4 fingers.
Wow. Wow.
But my instinct just went to grab it, and it just sucked my hand down in the housing. And man, I got so lucky. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, but I had to get skin graft and all crazy.
Wow.
My fingers were sewn together like this for like a freaking month. It was whack, bro. But
you're okay.
Another good story. I'll write a book one of these days.
Yeah, for sure.
So the next fight's coming up. Compared to when you're 30 fights ago to now, how has the process changed? Do you focus on things differently? Do you focus on different? And also, too, I want to know, based on each fighter, is there a specific thing that you target and said, I'm going after this, like the game plan?
For me, a lot of it's staying healthy. I know how to fight. I need to stay healthy and be in shape. So balancing, staying healthy and being at top, like peak shape is key for me. Second tier is, game planning towards my opponent a little bit, working on things, working on his weaknesses, attacking his weaknesses and defending his strengths, basically, in a sense. But, I'm going to go out there and throw some leather.
Yeah. What's the best, your favorite knockout that you've delivered?
My favorite one was probably the Joe Dirksen knockout, just because he beat me in my career. And it was my first knockout actually in MMA. Like I beat the shit out of people ground and pound. And Lieben used to always tease me, when are you gonna get a KO, Ed? When are you gonna get a KO? I got like 20 of them. I'm like, whatever, bro. I've been knocking people out my whole life, just not yet in an MMA fight. So that was my first one.
He dropped.
And he watched the fight afterwards. I was like, that one's for Chris, man. I got it finally. I got the knockout.
And what's
like
the hardest you've ever been hit?
The hardest I've ever been hit? Whew. Well, besides like my training partners, Chris Liebman and Dan Henderson, in a fight, Dan Henderson tried to kill me when I was a kid, man. Oh my gosh, I love that guy. In a fight, you know, man, Clifford Starks.
I know he's
so hard. He broke my orbital and my nose with the same punch.
Wow.
He hit really hard. But Doug Brunson dropped me with a punch, so that one must have been hard too. I just don't remember it. You know,
the ones you don't remember, I guess, are pretty hard.
Yeah.
That's only happened once, so, you know, I don't remember. But Clifford Starks, I remember he hit me so hard, I was like, damn, that hurt. You know, but then I'm still standing there. Imagine what he thought when he hit me as hard as he could. He bench pressed like 450 pounds.
Wow. If you were going on your boat, right, and you could bring any 5 people on a boat trip with you, alive or dead, who would the 5 people be?
Well, I mean, I got to say my family, right? My wife and kids. I guess 5, right? Okay, if we're not talking about family, then you know, it'd be great. Be great to have you know, Robert Follis out there with me. My other best friend, Jake Hawley, who died. If I can have people who aren't here anymore, man, you know, those would be 2 of the people I'd want there with me. It'd be good to have, you know, some old training partners like Lieben on the boat. He's always a good time. Without getting too like philosophy, you know, into philosophy or something too deep.
You can.
I'm not a real religious guy, but you know, gosh, I have to think about Eddie Murphy. I want Eddie Murphy out there with me. I love that guy.
Yeah, it was.
My homeboy here, right? This is my homie Fernando. He's coming too.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, good. Yeah. Right on.
That's awesome.
When you're in the middle of a fight, we saw the last guy that likes to talk a lot, but then he got taken down. Do you say anything to guys during fights, or are you you're dialed in, not saying
really.
nothing?
I don't really say anything. I think oh man, I wish I could talk more shit like that. It's hilarious. I didn't used to like him, but now I'm like, he's funny, and he cracks me up. He's not like all serious about it. It's like he'll talk shit and then like give you a hug and shit and get a kiss on the cheek or something.
Yeah.
I have it funny as hell. I never really had anybody talk to me during the fight either, but
yeah,
there ain't a lot of room to be talking when I fight. Usually we're scrapping.
Yeah.
So.
Is it always your goal to end that thing in the first round?
I mean, my goal is to finish every fight. Absolutely.
Not leave it to the cards.
I gotta be a little smarter, and be intelligent about the approach there. But I'm trying to finish people every fight, all the time. You know, my goal is to finish people. I am an entertainer, and I'm here to entertain and kick the shit out of people. So hopefully people can respect that. And I'm going to keep going, you know. I'm going to keep doing that. And I know Dana respects it because he's kept me around. He's told me that. So
that's
I'm
awesome.
going to be up for a new contract here soon, so hopefully he
awesome.
Appreciate that.
How many more you got? How many more you got on your contract right now?
So after this fight, I'm up for renegotiations. Usually
after this fight,
negotiate when you just have one left. Yeah.
Oh wow! So it'd be nice with
good time to renegotiate. I go get this dub.
Yeah, four in a row. Yeah, perfect.
You slapped 4 W's down.
Hey man.
Yeah, man.
Get me out of my white horse, man, with some fat pockets.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Because you know I'm gonna bring it. Pay me, because I'm gonna bring it. I'm not gonna let down ever.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And that's the thing too, because you know we get some of the cards that are so hyped and so talked about, and they're letdowns, and it's the other fights that. Sorry, what was that?
Sorry. I was just saying, guys. Some of these guys at the top, they're afraid to lose. They're fighting, to not lose.
Yeah.
They're not trying to finish guys. They're just kind of dancing around and trying to get the win. Which I respect. When you're the champ, you got to protect that. But come on, man, let's try to finish people. That's what it's about.
Hey, that's why I love college sports, really, because college football specifically is because it is like that. It is, hey, we're fighting for something bigger here, and I love that attitude of, hey, we're going in this to shut the other guy down. We're not just trying to defend or just not lose. We're trying to win and win convincingly, not leave it up to the cards.
Absolutely, and that's the way I train all of our students here. I'm one of the head coaches here at American Top Team Portland, and that's how we train our guys. So anybody's fighting someone from our gym, our guys are going to be ready. They're coming to finish. So that's awesome. That's the mentality I'm trying to get these guys on. You know, let's do damage. Let's go get those $50,000 bonuses with big finishes.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, everybody watching, this
Even
has been.
If you don't have fucking rainbow hair.
Yeah, none of that. They get it cut off if that's the case. Well, this is everyone. This has been Ed Herman, the John Wayne of the UFC. The short fuse. Why do they call you short fuse? You need to tell everybody quick why do they call you short fuse?
Yeah, you know, because when I was a kid, I used to kind of lose my mind in practice. When I'd have a bad sparring session, I'd like throw my glove across the room or headbutt the locker. And so Chris Lieben and Chael Sonnen came up with it. And of course, I threw a fit when they first came up with it, and that's why it's freaking stuck. You know,
best nickname in the game. The best nickname in the game, man.
How can they not have me on the game? There's no characters out there like me. What the F?
I know. That is ridiculous, actually. I can't believe that. That has to happen.
Not one game, man.
We're going to start that. Don't worry, Ed. It's crazy how the Me and Jesse podcast has the power to move shit. You know,
is it EA Sports that makes that game?
Work your magic, Mark. I trust you, man. I know you got the power.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Everybody, this has been Ed Herman. And Ed, thanks so much for that. We love the prioritization you have in your life, and I think it's a really important thing that a lot of people need to grab hold of. Also, man, good luck in your fight coming up. Get that extra W so you get that nice big fat contract coming in from Dana.
Yeah, buddy.
You deserve it, man.
All day.
Thanks, guys. I appreciate the time. It was good chatting with you. I don't do a lot of interviews and podcasts because
you don't. I know
we're weirdos, but good times. Good to talk to you.
Thanks, Ed.
Thanks so much, man.
Thanks, bro.
All right, ciao.
Thank you, buddy. Well, that was Ed Herman, everybody.
That was Ed Herman.
Yeah. Is he still with us? Still with us, kind of?
Well, no. You keep going. I'll figure out how to hang up.
Well, everybody, that was Ed Herman from the UFC. 25. We apologize for the technical difficulties, everybody, but that's going to happen on these podcasts. It hasn't happened to us yet, and it's finally happened. And my nightmares finally came true. And now I'm over it. I'm over it.
I've warned Mark many times, this is a live show, right?
Yeah. And Jesse's like, it's going to happen one day. And I'm like, it hasn't happened yet. And I'm like, we're that good. And I'm like, no, it happened. So I'm over it now. I'm done with it. But listen to me when I tell you this, kids at home. I know you want to emulate all the goofiness that in the sport of MMA,
right?
But if there's someone to really pay attention to, is the people like Ed Herman, because he works hard. He's a family guy. He's a hardworking dude, and he doesn't shit talk. He just basically he looks like he's going to shit talk because he gives off the aura of being mad all the time.
Right.
But he's not
sad though, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's the game. It's the world we're in today.
It actually pissed me off tonight a bit as I thought about it more because I'm like the UFC is not good at promoting other fighters. They've had their golden age with Conor. They've had the golden age because they just rode him and they let him do everything they should have been doing.
Jesse,
with
can you imagine
fighters?
Jesse, can you imagine what you just said? You remember the time when he did the bus incident, when Conor did the bus incident? They were denouncing it. It. Now, let's pretend that NFL football or Major League Baseball, one of the players, like a pitcher, did that to another player.
Yeah.
They would never use that footage ever again.
No.
UFC used it in their promo.
Yeah.
They used it in their promo, showing Conor throwing it through the bus. You know what I mean? So, yeah, but
or turned a blind eye to. The thing is,
I don't think it was planned. But I think it was someone turned a blind eye to it.
Here's the thing that I think we need to understand is that you've been watching F1 Drive to Survive.
Fantastic.
Have you ever cared about Formula One racing in your life?
Never.
So
you told me.
They've tapped in on something that the UFC needs to, in a hurry, tap into. There is other people in your show that you need to promote. they can't do it themselves, and they shouldn't be expected to.
Yeah.
You need to step up and do it. It used to be the manager. It used to be Don King that would promote, other than Muhammad Ali, like obviously, but Don King did the promotion. The fight organization did the promotion. The league did the promotion. UFC has skated along guys like Conor for too long, and they need to take a turn like F1 and actually start to promote their other fighters. Because you do a 10-minute story on Ed Herman. You go there and you watch him fixing his truck. You go watch him in his boat. You go watch him with his kids. People are going to fall in love with this guy.
Yes.
And want to watch the next fight.
Yes.
Why are the numbers down? Why are the numbers down? It's Francis Ngannou. Why were the numbers down? You didn't tell a story. You didn't tell us.
And you got the quickie with Francis, because Francis was homeless and in Paris, France.
You got an easy one. And you didn't even still do a good job of it, I think.
No, because we needed to really get that story, right? Because there is a big story behind Francis Ngannou, which needs to be told correctly by somebody, okay? But it needs to be told. So this is what people have to understand. This is the side of sport now that we're starting to see, that Ed Herman, with being in the UFC, listen to me when I tell you this. He was in the UFC in 2006, okay? Do you understand what I just said? He's been in the UFC since 2006. Newsflash, everybody. That's a 15-year career in the UFC. Nobody has that. Nobody. He does. Ed Shortfuse Herman. I'm going to say that over and over and over again. Yes, it's a shame that the technical part of the show sucked today, because he's in some place where it doesn't work well. But the message will never get distorted, that he is something that needs to be talked about. The reason why he's on the Me and Jesse podcast, it's not a newsflash, everybody. I've been telling people this from day one. There's certain people that need to be. Yeah, listen, people say, oh, listen, Mark, why don't you get George St. Pierre on the show? And I love George St. Pierre. And George St. Pierre is a legend. And George St. Pierre is a Hall of Famer. And George St. Pierre is one of the greatest. He's the greatest welterweight of all time. But he could not be on this show for 1 hour, everybody. He could not. If you like vanilla ice cream, sign him up. He's your guy. Okay.
Well, it is sad that stories aren't being told. And again, you and I were big advocates of this. Is that when you hear someone's story, as you've heard on these episodes of the Me and Jesse podcast, if you hear their story, even if you don't know who they are, or you might have heard about them somewhere along the way, after you watch, after you listen to the story, you're like, I love that guy. I love that person. That person I'm going to pay attention to for the rest. Why can't the UFC get this? Why don't they understand?
It's not the UFC. It's in general what the people have now decided what attracts them to somebody.
I think you still control the narrative, though, because the F1 did change the narrative, right? It was always about, the big, Lewis Hamilton, Mercedes, Red Bull. Yeah. And that's all you knew. Or Michael Schumacher. And that's, if you ask people, that's all they would know of F1. Yeah. That's kind of how it was. This show, telling the story, you now know what Team Haas is. The team doesn't even get a point in the season, and you care about them. You care what they do in the next race.
Here's the news flash. Next week, I'm watching the race.
Yeah, it's this weekend. And again, they figured something out.
Yeah. Yeah, but I've never watched one before, and I'm watching one this week because I know all the drivers, and I know who I like, and I know who I don't like.
I think that's what happened with fantasy sports, because I know you don't like fantasy sports, but I love fantasy sports. The reason
I understand it now.
Is you get to know the players. Yes. You get to know the guys on your team, and you care about someone that you wouldn't normally care about outside of your market. And so
you're right.
Fantasy sports, I think, saved. It was actually initially a baseball thing. It saved.
It makes
baseball.
Sense.
It saved.
It makes sense
because people actually started to care beyond their own team. You actually went beyond it. So in the same with the NFL now, it is a massive thing. And so UFC needs to do something in a hurry because their numbers suck when it's not one of their big guys in there. Who's another big guy that they have that what you'd buy? Israel Adesanya. But now that
there's four guys. You're talking. Listen to me when I'm talking right now. Let's say, for argument's sake, am I not one of the greatest MMA promoters of all time?
Yes.
Of all time. I'm one of the top 5 of all time, 100%. And I don't want to say that about myself, but it's a fact. And I'm telling you, you can't just promote 4 people. You cannot. You have to promote 25 people and consistently do it. And then when those guys are being promoted, you got to get the new breed and promote them. You know what I mean?
See,
but
I think that's where Joe Rogan came in. So he helped Joe's so great. Much because he did know the other guys and he knew who they were, and he was like, "Hey, this fight's gonna be awesome," and everyone's like, "Oh, okay, it's gonna be awesome,"
because Joe said so.
Joe said so.
Because Joe knew who they were. Because Joe follows the sport from the very bottom to the very top.
He's in the gyms with the guys. He knows their story.
Correct.
He knows that, hey, this kid was punched a lot as a little guy, and he's not going to take it anymore. And that's the thing. And man, it's disappointing that they're not doing that, because guys like Ed, where you might throw him on another card or whatever, it might not be a big draw. But if anyone that watched this and listens to this over this next couple months before June, you're going to watch the fight in June.
100%. 100%. Hey, let's not forget though, next week I had to do it. I had to pull the shoot. I didn't want to pull the No, I didn't want to pull the shoot. I was like, no, don't pull the shoot, Mark. Don't pull the shoot. But we're talking about character right now, okay? Yeah. We're talking about resilience. We're talking about relentlessness. We're talking about all these things on the Me and Jesse podcast with all these guests that we've had on. Every one of them have been that way. You know what's funny? This show has affected me more than any other show ever. You know why? Because after every show, it takes me about a week to get over the guest. I reflect on the guest. I think about the guest. Guess what? Next week, everybody. We got Hockey Hall of Famer on, Matt Pavelich, my father, okay, yes. which is going to be the hardest show for me ever to do, because I know the story. I know my dad's story. And you know what's funny? Hockey should be ashamed. The NHL should be ashamed, because my father's knowledge of hockey is absurd. It's not just absurd. And listen, there was a segment of time, ladies and gentlemen, that I didn't speak with my father for almost 14 years. Yeah. Okay. So we've come through that. We're at a great place in our lives together. But my father being in the Hockey Hall of Fame, and people were telling me like from the beginning going, you really need to get your dad on the show. You really need to get your dad on the show. And I was trying to avoid it, because not to avoid that my dad didn't deserve to be on the show. Of course he does. But I know his story. I know that he was on his own when he was 15 years old, working for the circuit. Like people have to understand what he went through to get to where he's at 86 years old. And you're going to say to yourself, 86 years old, tune in next week when you see what 86 years old looks like with my father. Okay. And what I'm trying to tell people is I started bragging about my father only when I was an adult. Okay. So I never talked about my dad when I was in my 20s and 30s and in early 40s. It was after that when I decided, hey, we got this all together, him and I, and we see each other every year. And I talk to him basically 2-3 times a week now. Yeah. But I know what he went through, and it was important to know what he went through in life to get to where he's at right now. And that's very, very deep. And that's a show that I implore people to tune into next week, because he is arguably one of the greatest storytellers in NHL history.
And if you want some NHL history, if you love anything about the NHL, this is the week to turn in. We have a fight coming up. We have a fight coming up.
Yes.
June.
Yes. June 19th. June 19th. Yeah, but you know what though? No, June, is it 18th or 19th? Wait, I don't want to wear my glasses, but June 18th.
18th, Friday.
June on Fight TV. And it's Santoro versus McNeil in the semi-main event. You can only get this fight on Fight TV, everybody. Okay. And listen, let me tell you something. These two kids, the Santoro boys.
They're brothers. Okay. So Santoro versus Milet in the first is the main event. Co-main event.
Main event is Santoro versus McNeil. Okay. And this is Elite Championship Boxing, and it's going to be on Fight TV. The link's going to come out probably this week sometime, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next day.
But these two,
yes, these two kids, okay, their ability, I've seen them box. I've watched them in training, and I'm telling you, I'm a gigantic fan of these two boys, okay? These two kids know how to box. It's going to be on Fight TV. It's going to be $20. You're going to watch it. We're all going to watch it.
Well, we're going to watch it very close, aren't we?
Yes, because me and you're going to be commentating the event.
Mark and I will be the commentators for that.
On Fight TV.
On Fight TV for the big fight on June 18th. Stay tuned for the channel where once that league comes out where you can order and pre-order, we'll make sure to get that everywhere so you can be sure to tune in June 18th for Santoro versus Milet, and then Santoro versus McNeil as the co-main. Two main events really. What's going on.
And the kids, their boxing ability is incredible. You know, really, it's a super high level boxing ability. Yeah, and that's something that I never get tired of watching. Never.
No, it is a beautiful sport.
It
really
is.
It
when
is
you watch it to that level, it is just it's easily one of the best sport. Like I say, NFL football at the highest levels, the best boxing, MMA at the highest level. I can watch it all day long.
Also, Boston Pizza. We have a prize to give away. If you can comment on this episode, how many knockouts Ed Herman has had in his career.
The first one to answer that question.
First one. $50. Oh boy. Okay.
Yeah,
first one to answer how many knockouts correctly. How many knockouts he's had in his career is going to get one of those.
$50 gift certificate. One for first prize. $50 gift certificate for second prize.
Okay.
Whoever gets it quicker. Great contest. Ed Herman knockouts. You got to put it down. Whoever gets them. $50 gift certificate. Windermere Marketplace. Boston Pizza from Terry. Boom.
Both of them? Oh, yeah. First and second place. What about the
first
jersey?
and second?
We're going to come up with something else for the jersey.
The jersey, the Mahomes jersey from Boston Pizza. You go check our Instagram and Twitter. You're going to have to join both of them to win that jersey, but we're going to come up with it. But today, the $50 gift certificates, the two will be going for first.
How many knockouts has Ed Herman delivered in the
UFC?
His
fighting in the UFC.
Yeah.
Specifically in the UFC only.
There it is.
Boy, you're quick. You're quick.
Hey, I mean, I make this look good, don't I?
You really do, and we do want to apologize to people at home for the technical difficulties we had today, but it wasn't on our end. We apologize that Mr. Herman lives in a very deprived
Portland
area of. There's not good telecommunication in that area, but that's not Ed's fault. That's Portland, Oregon's fault. Okay. But listen, next
week, Matt Pavelich, Mark's dad, and honestly, the stories, I don't even know where it's going to go, but there's going to be so many stories that you're going to be like,
I was talking to him today, and I was like on the floor laughing, and Martineau was like, "Don't waste it all now, right?
Yeah,
like,
don't waste it."
No, it's just he's got a plethora of stories.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Sitting right over there is Mark Pavelich. You can find Mark Pavelich on all social media at Mark Pavelich. I'm Jesse Martineau. Same deal there. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Not only that, but hit the little bell notification there so you get notified whenever a new video is posted. Because these aren't the only videos that get posted. We also post beer reviews on the channel as well.
Those are great.
Beer review.
Those are great. Those are so good.
There'll be another one coming out this week.
I laugh every time I watch one because and sometimes you're not trying to be funny, but I think it's funny.
Well, I am trying. I do try to be funny, kind of.
You're
one
very...
thing is that you don't want people to think you're nuts. Well, I do want them to think I'm nuts. I don't want them to think I'm super
pretentious.
Yeah, good one. I don't want that. I actually had someone message me that they bought my favorite beer, and I said, "Whoa, be prepared." And I said, actually, film yourself.
Oh my God!
That for the first time, and then send me that video, and I'll put it in another video because that.
I have 10 people that message me that they tried the beer, and they're like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Right? And then but that's but listen, you have to be in the know. You have to be in the know, and I'm not in the know, so I'm not.
Well, hey, you couldn't be if you watched the Jesse beer review.
Oh, I do, but I'll stick to my Stella. You know what I mean? So.
Oh boy, I'm gonna have a trash talk episode. One of these ones here.
Not about Stella.
Yeah, we'll talk about that too.
How about Sapporo?
Well, Sapporo is actually not bad.
I like Sapporo,
and they're actually a huge brewery, but they actually do all right.
Yeah,
there's a couple. Yeah. There's a few commercial breweries that I actually like.
Yeah,
Sapporo.
I love Sapporo.
Okay.
And we're kind of in talks with them right now too. So I didn't mean to like subliminally put a little plug in for them, but we're in talks with Sapporo. So
I would that star down in the bottom corner there somewhere.
Yeah, well, we got the Boston pizzas, we got the boxing, we got maybe a little Sapporo. Like nice. We mix it all up. Wait, we're not going to go with the shaving people. No. We might go with the other. We're going to go with the other shaving people probably.
Yeah.
So we got some things in the works here. We got some things in the works. We do.
Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We always appreciate it. Love it if you like, comment, and share on this. And we'll see you next week when Matt Pavelich, the first ever referee inducted into the NHL Hall of Fame, will join us. And I'm telling you right now, do not miss that one. We'll see you next time. This has been the most exciting 60 minutes you've spent on the internet this week. See you next time.
Thanks for watching the Me and Jesse podcast. Follow us at facebook.com/meandjesse.
Flip that back, but I can flip all that myself.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I was like, on my screen he was upside down.
Yeah,
and
no,
then
it was on mine too, and then so I flipped it on my output. So the output
you did because when I was watching on YouTube, he was the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, buddy.
All right.
Okay, well, I'm gonna do some promos for this after. So.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.